The two Korean giants go at it in this, a quick look at the LG G4 versus the Samsung Galaxy S6 and Edge. It is important to note right off the bat that we have different versions for both of these devices. The LG G4 does come with the new leather backing, however, we got our time with the titanium finished plastic version mostly. And in the Samsung camp, we have the Galaxy S6 Edge. Now, the LG G4 combines the best design features of previous flagship offerings with the device sporting a slightly curved display, more subtle than compared to the G Flex 2, but still retains the most recognizable aspect of an LG smartphone, the rear button layout with an easy reach of the index finger. Samsung's latest flagship offerings brought with them a major upheaval to the build and the quality with its glass and metal body, while the more unique Galaxy S6 Edge that you're seeing here boasts two curved edges that not only enhances the look, but serves a little bit of a purpose as well, mainly in ergonomics. There's no mistaking it for anything but a Samsung device though, with the signature elements like the physical home button up front and the standard replacements of the volume rocker and the power button available. Obviously, the main story between these two devices, as many are going to be talking about, is that the Galaxy S6 and the Edge have compromises, with the unibody design resulting in a lack of features like the removable battery and the SD card expansion. That isn't the case with the LG G4 though, because no matter what version of the phone you get, whether it's one of the few plastic builds or one of the many colors of the leather backing, all of the backings are removable, so you get access to these particular features. Now, speaking of back covers, the LG G4 brings a slew of options to the table. A leather material in a variety of colors, with even more coming in the summer. And even though the stitching in the middle might be a little bit showy to us, we did think that the leather backing provides the phone a very nice feel, and the grip is even better on it compared to the plastic version. In displays, Quad HD is the name of the game now, as Samsung's well-known display prowess in the 5.1 Super AMOLED display of the S6 Edge has the resolution bumped up to the current flagship standard. Super AMOLED brings all of the deep blacks and the vivid colors that we all love, and brightness and viewing angles are pretty fantastic. And the two edges on the side can be used, one or the other, in order to provide the Edge features, though the night clock is probably our favorite feature of these particular capabilities. The G4, on the other hand, is packing a 5.5-inch IPS display. Now, IPS constructions have already been well regarded by LG. However, LG is attacking the Super AMOLED ecosystem by bringing in the DCI standard. For those of you that don't know, the DCI standard involves television and cinema and is one of the ways of really gauging the quality of a display. This time around, the G4 has a quantum display that uses a specific type of construction on it in order to achieve the coloration that is under the DCI standard. While Samsung and their Super AMOLED displays might go over this particular percentage, the G4 will hit 98% of that mark, and this is the standard that LG is going for. It's worth mentioning that it is a curved display on the G4, but it is not the significant curve that came with the G Flex 2. However, despite losing that immersive effect, you will still get some of the durability that was afforded the Flex line. In terms of performance, optimization is obviously the name of the game, as the G4 packs a Qualcomm Snapdragon 808 processor in a very close relationship with Qualcomm, so that the processor is as optimized as possible for the G4's needs. Along with 3 GB of RAM to help with multitasking, so far the performance on the G4 has been as smooth as expected. In our short time with it, there were no noticeable hiccups. Now, this is in contrast to Samsung's decision to skip the Snapdragons of the world and make an in-house Exynos processor that is also as optimized as possible for Samsung's user interface. Now, with both phones, we're probably going to see a very close race when it comes to performance, and we're looking forward to seeing if the LG G4 can keep up, because we didn't have the greatest time with the G Flex 2. However, that doesn't seem to be the case with the G4 thus far. Hardware obviously takes on a very different look here, as the G4 is one of the few flagships available on Android this year that does come with the features that Samsung used to put in every phone. Obviously, with Samsung's unibody glass and metal design, you don't get removable batteries or expandable storage, but the G4, no matter what backing you get, affords you these abilities because every single backing is removable, as you can see here. However, one of the glaring omissions in the LG G4 is, of course, a fingerprint reader, which is found in the Samsung Samsung iteration in the home button, you simply have to press down on the power button and you'll be able to scan your fingerprint. And there's also the heart rate sensor on the back of the Samsung Galaxy S6 and Edge, which can be used from time to time, does come a little bit handy, but is not something you'll find on the LG G4. Now, the Galaxy S6 Edge does come with a 2600 milliamp hour non-removable battery that proved to provide battery life at just about average to a little bit above average performance. LG hopes to come in with a larger 3000 milliamp hour unit that can give up to 20 hours of talk time, and they will be marketing very heavily the fact that you can replace the battery and have spares if you need them. We make it over to camera, and it is a case of one-upping the other, as the LG G4 comes with a f1.8 aperture lens compared to the f1.9 camera that's found in the Samsung Galaxy ecosystem now. The LG G4 also comes with a somewhat larger sensor than many of the others found in flagships, and even better OIS that has a wider spectrum. It also comes with what is called a color spectrum sensor, which will analyze a scene in order to more accurately provide the white balance. But speaking of white balance, we do need to talk about the manual modes between these two phones. The Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge does come with a good manual mode that allows for a lot of catering of the settings. However, LG apparently spoke to a lot of photographers and asked them what features they want to see in the camera app, and it looks like you're going to get all of the different features that are usually afforded regular cameras, including a full white balance gamut, manual focus, a lot of ISO stops, even a histogram, and probably most exciting to us, the ability to capture RAW and JPEG at the same time. However, you are going to need that expandable storage to hold all of those RAW photos. Now, we are going to put both of these phones through their paces in a camera shootout, so stay tuned for that when we get our review unit of the LG G4. And in software, we are of course looking at two iterations of Android that, as being heavily marketed, has been very optimized for the processing package, especially in the case of Samsung with their in-house Exynos processor. We did have a very good time with its iteration of TouchWiz that has been stripped down from many of the different features that cluttered it in the past. The LG G4 doesn't exactly get afforded that kind of stripping down experience. However, it does feel a lot snappier than it did on the G Flex 2 when we reviewed it. Now, that being said, there are a couple of enhancements baked into the GUI this time around, including an enhanced calendar application that can save from pretty much any part of the phone to your dates, and a more robust gallery app. We are going to look at the software more closely in our full review, but we will say that it looks like these two are going to be a little bit more neck and neck this time around, especially with the optimizations LG put in association with Qualcomm. And so, there you have it, just this quick look riffing about the differences in this versus between the Samsung Galaxy S6 and Edge versus the LG G4. There are different versions of either device, and you will have your pick of the two. However, we will say that the two Korean giants seem to be as neck and neck as ever this time around, and we will prove that in our full review. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that and even more from us here in New York City for the LG G4 launch event.